Today on Retiring Well with Centennial Wealth Advisory, we'll take a serious look at who you can trust when it comes to your investments.
Who can you trust? I mean, let's be honest. Who can you trust? Now, you've been around long enough, you probably are skeptical about that very question.
Coming up, what defines a true fiduciary and what should you be looking for when investing your life savings?
With a fiduciary, there's no revenue sharing going on. There's no conflicts of interest.
All this and more on Retiring Well with Centennial Wealth Advisory, starting right now.
Retiring Well with Centennial Wealth Advisory, helping you make smart decisions with your money so you can live a better life. Today is the day you can take back control of your money. Retiring Well with Centennial Wealth Advisory, where we believe your best is yet to come.
Welcome to Retiring Well. I'm your host, Michael Reese, and we've got a great show lined up for you this week. We are talking about investing and asking the question, who can you trust? Who can you trust in today's world when it comes to your investments? This is a really important topic, and I want you to make sure to pay attention today because this is going to be very, very good information for you. But of course, before we do that, I want to take a quick moment and share with you why we do this show. You see, I believe your best is yet to come. I believe the second half of your life is going to be fantastic. It's a time of your life where you spend, all of your time and energy focusing on significance. What's important to you? What brings value to your life? It's a time you get to chase those dreams. But of course, if you're going to do that, you need to make smart choices with your money. And I found that almost all the financial media just focuses on growth and accumulation. How do we grow a portfolio? How do we accumulate money? What they don't talk about is how do you protect and distribute? Once you've reached the stage of financial independence, how do you stay there for the rest of your life? Getting to financial independence takes one set of skills, but staying there, that's another ballgame altogether. And that's what this show is all about. So whenever you look at your retirement planning, there are 5 areas you got to cover. 5. You've got to make sure you've got a good investment plan, a good income plan, a good tax plan, a healthcare plan, and an estate plan. 5 areas of retirement. Today, we're going to focus on the investment side and who can you trust? I mean, let's be honest. Who can you trust? Now, you've been around long enough, you probably are skeptical about that very question. And I'm going to share this with you. I'll tell you, let's start with who you cannot trust. And I know I'm just going to say it directly. I'm not going to beat around the bush here. You can't trust the big Wall Street firms. And I know what happens. You say, I'm going to invest with this big company because I've heard of this company. And it makes me feel comfortable because they're a known entity. Well, here's the problem. Known entities are not looking out for you. I have here a good example of this just recently. You can Google this yourself. Here it is, Merrill Lynch. Merrill Lynch, you've heard of them, big Wall Street firm. Merrill Lynch to pay $425 million to settle 2 SEC cases. One of them was $415 million. One was $10 million. Basically, what happened here? What happened was really simple. Merrill Lynch essentially ripped off its customers. They ripped them off. They did things with customer money that they're not supposed to do. Now, here's the part that drives me crazy. When Merrill Lynch pays a fine of $425 million, and by the way, if you pay a fine for $425 million, did you probably do something wrong? Yeah, it's a no-brainer. Of course they did. Where does that money go? Does it go to the people that they, took money from? Does it go to the people they ripped off? No, it goes to the SEC. It goes to the government. Why? Why should it go to the government? Shouldn't it go to the people that actually were harmed? Apparently that's not how it works. You just sit there and you're harmed. Now here's the deal. You would think, but Mike, that's just that doesn't happen all the time. That's just it's just a one. it hardly ever happens. I mean, that's just a rare circumstance. Well, not so fast. Because I have right here, in my office, I had one of my interns, I said, hey, do me a favor. Why don't you go online and get me a list of companies that have been fined, like millions of dollars, for ripping off their customers in the last 5 or 6 years. In one day, in fact, didn't even take him all day, his problem was not, can I find anything? His problem was, holy cow, these things are all over the place. I have a big old binder here. What you see here are 40 different times in the last few years. 40 times. And about every big Wall Street firm mentioned here, Edward Jones, Morgan Stanley, UBS, Prudential, MetLife, Ameriprise, AG Edwards, Wells Fargo, you name it, they're in there. All the companies do it. You can't trust them to focus on what's right for you. And don't go anywhere. Coming up, I'm going to share with you a real-life example of what they consider to be common practice. All right, folks, I want you to pay attention to me right now. I have a very special offer. If you're one of the first 10 people to call, and our number right here, 512-265-5000. If you're one of the first 10 people to call and you've saved at least $250,000 for your retirement, we will provide for you at no charge, no obligation, your own personalized retirement roadmap. In this roadmap, we help you take a look at where you stand currently with the risks that you're taking with your portfolio, the fees. What are you paying your advisors, both the fees you see and the fees you don't see? What about a retirement income stress test? Will your money last? We also run a tax analysis, a Social Security analysis. This is something you absolutely want. It tells you exactly where you stand with your retirement planning. It's absolutely free, no obligation, but you must be one of the first 10 people to call at 512-265-5000. Call now.
Essential financial strategies for a comfortable retirement. Join the Centennial Wealth Advisory team for an informative and exciting presentation with complimentary gourmet dinner and learn how to protect your assets from market volatility. How to plan your retirement, the best ways to generate lifetime income, how to safeguard your assets from unnecessary taxation, the difference between retirement advisors and Wall Street advisors, why getting a second opinion may be your most important financial decision, and much more. Choose the date and location that works best for you. Tuesday, September 13th at Trulux in the Arboretum, Thursday, September 15th at Fleming's in the Domain. Presentations start at 6:30 p.m. and are free to attend with a complimentary gourmet dinner to follow. But seating is limited and fills quickly. Call 512-265-5000 or visit send-wealth.com/events to reserve your seats today. There is no cost and no obligation. Don't miss this important presentation, Essential Financial Strategies for a Comfortable Retirement. Call 512-265-5000 today.
Welcome back. We're talking about who can you trust in today's world. And I said, hey, watch out for those Wall Street guys. They are getting fined over and over and over again. They're always getting fined. It seems like every time you turn around for ripping off their customers, which is maybe you, right? You don't want to be in that position. But I want to share with you something that they do all the time. This is common practice with these big firms. And if you've been watching the show every week, you've seen this before, but in case you haven't, I'm going to share it with you again. It's something called revenue sharing. Now, I have with me, this is revenue sharing disclosure. It's from Edward Jones. I use it in my examples a lot because they are nice enough to keep it short and to the point, and they use English. But heads up, every one of these big firms, they all do the exact same thing. Now, here's what this says. It says Edward Jones receives payments known as revenue sharing from certain mutual fund companies, 529 plan program managers, and insurance companies. They're collectively referred to as product partners. Virtually all of Edward Jones' transactions relating to mutual funds, 529 plans, and annuity products involve product partners that pay revenue sharing to Edward Jones. We want you to understand that Edward Jones' receipt of revenue sharing payments creates a potential conflict of interest in the form of additional financial incentive and financial benefit to the firm, its advisors, and equity owners in connection with the sale of these products. And then they go on and they tell you these revenue sharing payments generated typically roughly 25 to 30% of their total net income. Of their total net income, 25, 30% of their total net income comes from these revenue sharing payments. Now, what does this mean? What's going on here is that they have these different fund families that pay them a kickback, if you will, for doing business with them. So, for example, let's say you're at Edward Jones. Let's imagine you have money at Edward Jones. And you come in, visit with our firm, and you say, hey, here's my Edward Jones statement. Run an analysis. Tell me what I've got. Well, before we open up that statement, we know that you have American funds. Somewhere in that statement, and maybe in a lot of places in that statement, you have American funds. By the way, if you're at Wells Fargo, you have American funds. If you're at a company like, say, Northwestern Mutual Investment Services, you have American funds. Now, why? Is it because American funds is the very best option for you? Is that why you have it? Is it really the best for you? Or if you're at Edward Jones, we look down here on the sheet and we see, oh, look at this. American funds happened to give Edward Jones $55 million last year. They gave him $49 million the year before. So do you have American funds because it really is best for you? Or do you have it because they paid Edward Jones $100 million over the last 2 years? What do you think? It's amazing how often when people come into the office, if you're at one of these big firms, we can pull out the revenue sharing disclosure, lay it on the table, set your portfolio right beside it, and guess what? You look at your portfolio, you look at revenue sharing disclosure, and you notice it's all the same stuff. Whatever funds are paying that company money, that's what you own. I got to ask you something. Is that integrity? Is that doing the right thing for you? Is that really focusing on what's best for you? Or are they focusing on what's best for them? You got to ask yourself, why do you hold what you hold? Why do you hold what you hold? And by the way, got another great article here. If you own mutual funds, this comes from Forbes. It's called The Real Cost of Owning a Mutual Fund. Basically what it tells you, and I don't have time to dive into it, but what it tells you is whatever the expense ratio you think your mutual fund is charging you, you can multiply it typically by 3 times and that'll be the real number. A lot more expensive than you think. Feel free to call the office, we'll get this to you. Anyway, you can't trust these guys. They're working in their best interest, not yours. Now I don't want you going anywhere because after the break, I'm going to tell you who you can trust to look out for your best interests. All right, folks, I want you to pay attention to me right now. I have a very special offer. If you are one of the first 10 people to call, and our number right here, 512-265-5000. If you're one of the first 10 people to call and you've saved at least $250,000 for your retirement, we will provide for you at no charge, no obligation, your own personalized retirement roadmap. In this roadmap, we help you take a look at where you stand currently with the risks that you're taking with your portfolio, the fees. What are you paying your advisors, both the fees you see and the fees you don't see? What about a retirement income stress test? Will your money last? We also run a tax analysis, a Social Security analysis. This is something you absolutely want. It tells you exactly where you stand with your retirement planning. It's absolutely free, no obligation, but you must be one of the first 10 people to call at 512-265-5000. Call now.
Essential financial strategies for a comfortable retirement. Join the Centennial Wealth Advisory team for an informative and exciting presentation with complimentary gourmet dinner and learn how to protect your assets from market volatility. How to plan your retirement, the best ways to generate lifetime income, how to safeguard your assets from unnecessary taxation, the difference between retirement advisors and Wall Street advisors, why getting a second opinion may be your most important financial decision, and much more. Choose the date and location that works best for you. Tuesday, September 13th at Trulux in the Arboretum, Thursday, September 15th at Fleming's in the Domain. Presentations start at 6:30 p.m. and are free to attend with a complimentary gourmet dinner to follow. But seating is limited and fills quickly. Call 512-265-5000 or visit send-wealth.com/events to reserve your seats today. There is no cost and no obligation. Don't miss this important presentation, Essential Financial Strategies for a Comfortable Retirement. Call 512-265-5000 today. Your grandchildren are precious to you. They are your life. This is your time to have that special relationship. Taking care of yourself is taking care of them. Centennial Wealth Advisory is offering a free, no-obligation retirement review to make sure you don't run out of money during your retirement. Centennial Wealth Advisory. Your best is yet to come.
Welcome back. This week we are talking about investments. Who can you trust and who can't you trust? Well, we've already learned that you just can't trust these big companies. They are not looking out for you. They're looking out for themselves and themselves only. And here's the thing. You may have a financial advisor you work with at one of these firms, and they may be a very nice person. But the problem is this. They're working in a toxic environment, an environment that has everything, all the cards are stacked against you. And you have to decide, is that what you deserve? Is that good enough for you? You know, I would argue retirement is too big of a job it's too big of a game to play with the cards stacked against you, right? You don't want to do that. So who can you trust? You want to look, and there's only about 5% of financial advisors fall in this category. You want to find a true fiduciary. A true fiduciary. A fiduciary is someone who has the moral, legal, and ethical responsibility to give you advice based on your best interests. With a fiduciary, there's no revenue sharing going on. There's no conflicts of interest. So you're not going to see you aren't going to see a fiduciary using American funds, for example, because American funds are almost never the best option for you. What you are going to see them use, though, if they're using mutual funds, is they'll use Vanguard, because Vanguard might be better for you. In fact, you probably won't see a fiduciary use mutual funds at all. In today's world, we're using exchange-traded funds. If you're talking to a financial advisor that's using mutual funds, they're either not a fiduciary or they're not a well-informed fiduciary. And I don't think you want either one of them. You want advisors who are using exchange-traded funds today. They are an improvement upon mutual funds. Mutual funds used to be really, really good, and they did a great job for what they were, but times are changing, and exchange-traded funds are taking over there. How do you know someone's a fiduciary? This is the hardest thing, because here's the thing. Let me tell you what you want. Number one, they can't be working for a big firm. They've got to have and it's got to be an independent company. It's got to be, because otherwise, all the big firms, they're not fiduciaries. They're not truly fiduciaries. So they can't be working for a big firm. They have to be working for a smaller company. Next, you want someone who offers you every type of financial tool available. You want someone that can offer you investment options. You want someone who can offer you insurance options. You need someone that can understand all of those tools and integrate them for you in a manner that makes sense specific for you, that's customized for you. Third, avoid anyone who calls himself the fiduciary, but then they want you to write a check to their firm. This is how Bernie Madoff got away with what he did. He said, oh, I'm a fiduciary. And when you make checks out, transfer your accounts to Bernie Madoff Investment Company. No. You don't want any part of that kind of thing, because then, in his case, he had control of your money. He was giving the statements. There was no third party to double check anything. When you talk to a real fiduciary, they're going to have your assets held at a third party like Fidelity or TD Ameritrade or Schwab or something like that. So when you're looking, but here's the tough thing though. There's really nowhere you can go online to say, okay, is this person truly a fiduciary? Is this firm truly a fiduciary? I wish there was. This is one area where I wish there was some regulation where you could just go online and check it out like that. You just have to do your legwork. You have to visit with people, and you have to see who you're comfortable with. It's kind of as simple as that. Now, just a really quick comment here. I don't know if you've seen this, but the Department of Labor out there has gone out and said, hey, any financial firm who works with retirement plans like IRAs, got to be a fiduciary. Well, it looks good on paper. The reality is all the big companies, the big Wall Street firms, the big insurance companies, they're all suing the Department of Labor now. This thing's going to be in court forever. I would bet that odds are nothing's going to happen of it. Good idea, probably nothing's, more of the same, if you will. All right, avoid the big firms, focus on a fiduciary, and you'll be a lot better off. All right, folks, I want you to pay attention to me right now. I have a very special offer. If you're one of the first 10 people to call, and our number right here, 512-265-5000. If you're one of the first 10 people to call and you've saved at least $250,000 for your retirement, we will provide for you at no charge, no obligation, your own personalized retirement roadmap. In this roadmap, we help you take a look at where you stand currently with the risks that you're taking with your portfolio, the fees. What are you paying your advisors, both the fees you see and the fees you don't see? What about a retirement income stress test? Will your money last? We also run a tax analysis, a Social Security analysis. This is something you absolutely want. It tells you exactly where you stand with your retirement planning. It's absolutely free, no obligation, but you must be one of the first 10 people to call at 512-265-5000. Call now. All right, welcome back. It's time for our segment of Ask Banks. You can see I've got her here. She's really excited about this segment, as you can tell. She can't wait. Well, let's be honest. Here's why she's sad. You can tell she's sad because I need to report to you how she's doing with her investment pick against Warren Buffett. Remember, if you've been watching the show a few months ago, when she was 8 weeks old, just 8 weeks old, just a little puppy, she picked a stock. She picked Nike stock and as an investment for you, our viewer. And what happened? We wanted to see how she did against, of course, the Oracle of Omaha, Warren Buffett, because we wanted to give her kind of a tough hurdle. Well, what happened? In the time since she picked that stock, our guy, Warren Buffett, he's up like 11%. Meanwhile, my puppy Banks, with dividends even. She got paid dividends and she's still down 8%. She's like 20% behind Warren Buffett. She's throwing in the towel. She's giving up on this whole thing. She says, you know what, the heck with that. This bet is over. I give up. I give in Warren Buffett. You win. So it turns out that Warren Buffett is a better investor than my 8-week-old puppy Banks. No surprise, right? So anyway, we thought, we're not going to let her just quit. We're going to give her a new challenge. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay out on the floor 6 different sectors or sections that we could invest in. Maybe 6 different like cash or gold or U.S. stocks or international, that kind of stuff. We're going to lay them on the floor. We're going to let her pick 2 of them. And we're going to see how she does. And we'll just compare her to the others. Let's see if she can at least pick the asset class that's going to do well over the next few months compared to others. Yeah, so we'll have a little bit of fun with this. So hopefully we can get a little energy out of Banks. And so don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to show you her picking these positions. Okay, so here are the categories that Banks is going to select from. We have right here U.S. stocks. We have, what do we got here? Real estate. That looks like a good potential one. We have international stocks. So there's our third. We have cash. Okay, right there. We have gold. Hey, maybe gold will do well. And then, of course, our 6th category that Banks will pick from is healthcare right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay these on the ground, put some dog treats on them. She's going to come in. She'll pick the first one. Then we'll bring her out. Then we'll rearrange the other 5. She'll pick the second one. And then that will be the asset classes that we'll hold, and we'll compare how they do against the other 4. So, so I'll be right back, and that's what we're going to do. All right, Banks, we're going to have you come get the first one. All right, puppy, come. You can come to Daddy. Come on, let's go pick one. What do you think? Oh, look at this. Now she smells it. All right, first one she picked was cash. That's the first one. All right, now we're going to remix these around, and then she'll pick the second. All right, Banks, let's get your second pick. Let's see which one you want. Oh boy, she's thinking around. What's she going to do? Stocks, real estate. I'm worried about the intelligence of my puppy Banks right now. Oh, there she goes. She went for gold. All right, puppy, there you go. Gold it is. So we have cash and we have gold. Apparently, Banks is going defensive on us. So, we'll come back and then we'll recap what we're doing here. Okay, so here's what happened. Banks picked cash and gold as her categories. And so that means over the next few months, we're going to track how well, if you put half your money in cash and half in gold, how well would that do compared to the other categories that she did not pick, which were, of course, U.S. stocks, international stocks, healthcare, and real estate. So we'll see, okay, Banks, you think cash and gold is the way to go? We'll see if she's right or if she's wrong. And so we'll keep you apprised of that one. Hopefully this time she'll do a little better than when she was an 8-week-old puppy. She's like 5 months now, so she's learned a lot in those last few months. So maybe she's a better investor now. I'm sure it'll be fun watching and finding out. So with that, that's our show this week. Hope you have a terrific weekend.